Hello viewer, you join me currently in the middle of AJAC's EcoRun. The Automobile Journalists Association of Canada has invited me out as a member to Beloeil, Quebec. Pretty close to where we actually used to film a lot of our content here on Test Drive. Back before I moved to Ontario, we're here in La Belle Province to do basically an eco rally. Currently we're on the road. A couple of cars around us here, the Toyota Crown that just passed us, the Hyundai Ioniq 6 in front of us, part of a 14 vehicle convoy, as we're going to be going around 2 different areas of the province in 4 different legs per day. So 8 total trips that we're going to be doing in 8 different vehicles each, to be able to test out what is the most efficient and who really is the most efficient at driving. So today I'm starting off in this Lexus UX 300H. Now this is a subcompact crossover in the luxury space, and first impressions overall, I haven't driven this car before, but obviously on the smaller side of things, should be pretty efficient with the hybrid engine. But efficiency doesn't have to be slow. This has about 196 horsepower total system output, which is pretty good for a small vehicle like this. Now, part of the plan here is to actually be as economical as possible, as I mentioned. So the vehicle is in eco mode, and I gotta say I have to have the air conditioning on. That was the only thing I was hoping to avoid, because again, we're about spending the least amount of fuel, having the best, whether it's the liters per 100 kilometers or kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, depending on what we're driving. But it is like 40 degrees here in Quebec. That is heat wave level, and we weren't obviously planning that for this, so it's a little bit toastier than I had hoped for. So where are we going right now? Currently we are on the Autoroute 20 here in Quebec. We're heading towards Saint-Hyacinthe, the place that I used to come to all the time when I lived out here. We're heading up to one of the largest electric car charging stations, so we'll talk a little bit about it when we get there. But on the highway, this is basically a whole highway stretch. We're doing another 107 kilometers, and it's essentially going to be completely highway. So I'm kind of hoping, since some of the other cars have already passed me, I'm clocked in at 105, and we're behind this F-150. He's doing 99 right now. That's fine by me. We're going to stay nice and economical on this drive. I don't care. All these trucks can pass me. You go, girl. Here comes the Genesis G80. They're going to be passing me. Guess what? They're using more electricity. They're using more gas to pass me. I'm going to be the most efficient. So we're going to pick that up once we get to our destination. But join me as we go around the province of Quebec on AJAC's 2024 EcoRun. All right, we're at the first stop here for EcoRun 2024. This is one of the largest charging stations in North America. It might even be the biggest one here in Canada. There's about 44 high voltage stations here. You can see behind me quite a bit. So, I mean, this is what we need in Ontario. This is one of the main reasons why I think that we just don't have the right infrastructure in Ontario, because this is perfect. I mean, Quebec, if you haven't been here before, it is quite a large province, but there's not a whole lot between Quebec City and Montreal. Unlike, Ontario, where if you're going from, say, Ottawa even to Toronto, or Toronto to London, or Toronto to Windsor, I mean, there's a lot of places along the way, not so much here. So having a huge charging infrastructure here just outside of, Montreal, but along the way that a lot of people are going to be traveling, makes a whole lot of sense. So something like this in Ontario really would make a lot of sense as well. So we're going to continue on with the next leg of EcoRun, so join me in a second as I swap into a different vehicle. So for leg 2, we're on our way to Trois-Rivières, and I'm in the 2025 Toyota Camry all-wheel drive hybrid. Now, first of all, it's nice to be in a car because it was getting really, really warm outside. We had a little meeting after we arrived, after I filmed that last little segment. Talked about how that is the largest charging station in Canada. And, it just goes to show that Quebec is ahead. We've talked about that before when it comes to charging infrastructure. The fact that the provincial government essentially has controlled how the rollout of these chargers works, it allows them to have a lot more power in putting out chargers that not only work, but they work with other charging networks. So you don't have to worry about having, I literally have 12 different apps on my phone, right? You don't need that. You only need like one if you live here in Quebec. So there's a lot of good when it comes to the electric car infrastructure here in this province. One of the things I do miss about living here, and why it's great to be here on EcoRun. So now we're on the next part of our drive here, and it's been It's been a long day so far. We've been doing quite a lot. It's been a very busy day. But first impressions behind the wheel of the Camry here is it is very comfortable. And I've got air conditioning and everything going because, you know, I've kind of given up on, not given up necessarily, but, you know, when I was in the Lexus, I wanted to see exactly how fuel efficient I could get. And that was great. 4.8 liters. That's really good. You know, when I started the video on the Lexus, I was at 5.4 liters per 100 kilometers. That was with the air conditioning running. I turned that all off, got it down to 4.8 by the time I was done that, you know, 120 kilometer stretch. So that's awesome. This probably will be a little bit higher. Obviously, we've got air conditioning going, and I've got my ventilated seats going, which I actually feel it this time, something I didn't feel in the Lexus. But you know, I gotta say that the interior here, it's certainly an improvement. You know, it's an upgrade over the one that we drove before, because it has been a while. But it is nice to be able to drive this one and see how a car performs. Again, we've got back-to-back hybrids for what I'm doing here. So it's nice to go from one hybrid to another, both of them from Toyota. So they should function about the same way. But, you know, as we make our trek to the next rendezvous point, you know, we're gonna see how fuel efficient we can go. And because I got the aircon on, it's gonna come down to how I drive. It really comes down to how much power I'm putting as I get up to speed. I wanna make sure it's smooth. I wanna make sure it's, you know, not going too quick, because I don't wanna use too much energy here. And because we are off the highway for the most part, you know, it'd be interesting to see if there's going to be a lot of slower areas that I could, you know, recharge the battery and get some regen. So I'm excited to see exactly how this does as we get to our next destination. So you'll see this in the magic of movie making, but we're going to be arriving at our next destination in the blink of an eye. Before we go on the road with the next vehicle, I just want to mention the second destination that we went to, Ingenext. They are a recycler of electric vehicles, but not just EVs. You can also do plug-in hybrids. And they have a huge warehouse in Trois-Rivières of pretty much any part for any sort of electric vehicle that you would need. And not just the electric components, I'm talking everything. They had things like doors, windows, roofs, like almost full shells of vehicles. Any part you need, they've got it. They started specializing in Teslas, but they've really expanded to all sorts of electric vehicles. They had a Mustang Mach-E that they had just received, as well as other vehicles that were being torn down in various stages. So, I mean, they are a very unique supplier because not only do they have all the parts, but they also manufacture solutions for businesses, or I guess even yourself. They have tuning kits that you can have for your Tesla vehicles, but they also take other sorts of vehicles and electrify them using these components from vehicles that were in accidents or damaged in some sort of way. They were written off. They're buying them up. Really cool to be able to see how it works and see, you know, the reason why they're doing what they're doing. I thought it was a really unique experience for us to be able to check it out, and could be an option for people out there who are looking to either, you know, buy specific parts for the vehicle, or, you know, if you're thinking of having a project of your own, you need some components, they're the place to do it. So information about them is in the lower third below. We'll also have it in the description for the video if you want to check it out. Now let's continue with our drive back at EcoRun. Well, we finished our third stop there at Ingenext, and now we're back on the road for our third leg of EcoRun on the first day here. And now I'm driving the Lucid Air Pure. This is a vehicle that I have had high on my list for quite some time, because as you know, I love driving electric cars here on Test Drive, and this is one of those new electric car companies that's competing in a very crowded space. Yeah, they're looking to make a name for themselves with their vehicles. This is the first one that they've launched, and the Pure here is more of like the entry level. Essentially, this is the base model, but still gives you a good idea of what they have to offer. You can see here, there's no sunroof. That's fine. I've got, you know, leatherette seating and sort of a denim almost material along the door cards and dashboard. Looks pretty cool. Good amount of space in here was the first thing I noticed when I got in. But like a lot of these new electric car companies, they're all trying to do something a little different. Everybody wants to reinvent the wheel when it comes to how a vehicle should operate. So a lot of the stuff, I mean, everything really, is inside the infotainment system. It actually took me a couple minutes just to get everything set up. Now, you know, I acknowledge that that's an issue that, you know, most people don't have to deal with. It's really just car journalists, right? Because we're changing cars around so often. But I gotta say, first couple minutes here behind the wheel of this, I like it. I like cars, man. You know, despite being a bigger guy, I do prefer driving a good old-fashioned car over an SUV. So more of these are, it's a need as far as I'm concerned. Look, we're following a Model 3, I believe. You know, we're just behind it, and you know, it's a popular seller obviously here in Quebec, and the Lucid could become one too if they, you know, start selling more of these. It starts just under 100 grand, so not bad for a big vehicle such as this. You know, I'd say that it's probably similar to like a short wheelbase S-Class, or you know, maybe an E-Class. You know, it's pretty good size overall, and I'm pretty comfortable in it. So we're going to be continuing on the EcoRun here. Now we're basically making our way back to Beloeil. So you'll be seeing us as we arrive there, and we'll talk a little bit more about our experiences here for the EcoRun. Welcome back, friends. That was a quick transition between the Lucid and here. I have to say that Lucid was phenomenal. It did about, I think it was like 7.6 kilometers per kilowatt, which works out like pretty close to, I'd say, like 13 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. Like it's impressive. We came into Saint-Guillaume here in Quebec. We're just a little bit north of, you know, northeast of Drummondville. So we stopped at the Fromagerie Saint-Guillaume, and I have to say it was quite good. I enjoyed it quite a bit, having some cheese curds, because I'm hungry. It's been a long day. So we're now on the way back to our hotel, which is in Beloeil, and we're going to wrap up today's festivities. I'm driving the Tacoma. This is the hybrid. And yeah, we're not averaging anything amazing right now. We are averaging 16.5 liters per 100 kilometers. It's not good, but it will improve. We just started it up. The air conditioning's been running. I've got the heated seats going, so it's to be expected. But this is pretty off-road kit. Not only is it the off-road version, but we've got, you know, the roof rails. We've got the bars across there. We've got a whole bunch of accessories on this. Like, this is really kitted out for driving off-road, which is kind of the opposite of being economical. I can actually hear the wind going over the sunroof there, the roof rails. But regardless, we're going to be talking about this one too. So again, you know, the idea of this, you're watching our coverage of EcoRun, but you can watch the videos. I'm doing a little bit more in depth with each one. So if you're interested to see more about the Toyota Tacoma, you can check that video out. But we are going to wrap up day one because I need to get back to the hotel. We're going to get there, I don't know, it's going to be like 7 something. I need to shower, clean up, and then get ready for dinner. And then I'm going to start editing all of this. And then day 2 starts tomorrow. We're going to be doing essentially the reverse of what we did today. We're going to start off with our drives. We're going to go in the direction of, you know, Sutton and Sherbrooke, and going through Granby, you know, places that I frequented a lot when I lived here. So it's going to be good to go back through there. So we're going to be doing that, and then we're going to do some activities after. And then at the end of the day, we're going to wrap up and see who wins. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, that's it for this portion. We're going to see you tomorrow, Wednesday, see how day 2 of AJAC's EcoRun 2024 goes. All right, we're on the road now. Day 2 of AJAC's EcoRun. I'm behind the wheel of the 2025 Toyota Crown Signia. This is a all-new vehicle coming to Canada in a little while. We're getting the first chance to drive it here during EcoRun, so this is awesome to be able to get kind of like a full exclusive drive of a vehicle here. So I just want to touch base a little bit on the fuel economy that I did yesterday, because we didn't really talk about it too much. So the Toyota Tacoma that I had, that ended up doing about 10.9 liters per 100 kilometers, which not too bad overall. Now, I did turn off the air conditioning on all these vehicles after filming, so it definitely got toasty, but 10.9 is not too bad for a mid-sized truck, especially one with so much accessory added onto it, so that was kind of fun. And then I was doing the rough calculations when it came to the Lucid. I think I said I did 7.6 kilometers per kilowatt hour, which worked out to be what, like 12, maybe 13 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, so extremely good. I was very impressed with that vehicle. Still think that might be one of the most efficient electric vehicles I've driven, especially given how big it is. So that was really fun. But today we're on the road now. We're going to be heading out to the southern part of the area here. into the eastern townships, into Sherbrooke, areas that I used to do a lot of driving to. I used to go to Granby all the time. So currently we're heading to St. Bruno, which is a pretty touristy little area. Got some nice, mountainous areas there. So you can look at, you can't see it really on the camera here, but there's some pretty picturesque views here, despite it being, already almost feel like 30 degrees. There's like a haze of humidity out there. But we're going to be on the road driving and talking about the rest of the day as I swap in between a number of other vehicles. So stay tuned as we continue on EcoRun here and see what else we have in store. Well, we just finished our first swap of the day. We're just we're just outside of Granby, I guess. We're in Farnham. And Crown Signia did extremely well, 5 liters per 100 kilometers. It was kind of fun. Again, the whole point of what we're doing here at EcoRun is it's a contest, right? But it's also to see how efficient we as journalists can be. So it's definitely part of a game to try to get the best fuel efficiency. And I'll tell you, as I was driving around, it started off kind of high, as it does with any of this, because I've got the air conditioning on so that you can hear me a little bit better, and I'm not quite as warm. But then, as I'm driving along, windows are down, AC's off, fuel efficiency is maximum, as best as I can do. So the car had done 5.2. That was my goal, because I need to beat whoever was driving before, right? The idea is each vehicle you're scored on. So I got it down to 5.2, and I was happy. And then it got to 5.1. So I'm like, great, this is excellent. I'm doing better now, right? Goal is at least to do the same. But because we were driving through some kind of twistier areas up and down, it would go to 5.1 and then back to 5.2 and back and forth quite a bit for quite a while. So I thought, okay, well, you know what? Like if I time it right, maybe I'm really efficient, I'll get the 5.1 by the time I get to the end and get it scored. But it actually went down to 5 liters per 100 kilometers. So I was so happy. Finished off that leg there. So now we're in the Lexus RX 450h. It's a vehicle that I'm extremely familiar with, not only because I featured the RX 450h a few months ago now, but I featured essentially the same RX 450h, same configuration as the one that we had in Toronto. This one is same gray with the brown interior, looks extremely nice. We've got all the features, all the tech and everything that you would want out of a vehicle. And because this is a plug-in hybrid, we are playing around with the charge mode. It's not something that I did last time when we had the vehicle, because obviously when I pick up the cars, they're more or less fully charged, and then I bring them home and I plug it into the house, and I'm able to charge the car all week. But because I'm driving around here, I'm trying to actually charge the battery up, because the idea is, I've got the map here. We've got a 10-kilometer drive, 8 minutes to get to the first, waypoint, and then we continue on to Cowansville. So my hope is, if I can use the electricity, I've got the AC running, nice and comfortable in here, get the battery charged up maybe to 10%, something like that. If I can get it going, then hopefully the rest of the way I can keep it in EV mode and reduce the fuel economy, because right now we're at 10.7. That's a pretty high number for what we've been doing so far. That's what the Tacoma did almost, and that was a pickup truck. So we'll see how it goes. We're going to be driving around here in this area. This is again an area that I'm pretty familiar with when we used to live here in Quebec. If you are a long time viewer of Test Drive, you'll know that I was out here for about 5 years. So we would come to Granby quite often. We lived really in the middle of nowhere. There wasn't enough in our town to really do everything we needed to do during the course of a day. So we often had to go to Drummondville or Granby or Saint-Hyacinthe, other cities in the area, in order to do, groceries and stuff like that. So, we were pretty familiar with this area. We drive around here quite a bit and do some exploring. So it's nice to be back. It's good to see some familiar places. I haven't had a chance to see any familiar faces, but it's just because we've been so busy this week. It's I wasn't quite prepared for how busy we'd be, but I'm glad that I'm getting the chance to be able to drive these vehicles. So we will pick it up at our next stop, where we'll be swapping vehicles again, and you can join me on the next leg of EcoRun 2024. All right, folks, we're on the road now with the 7th leg of our drive today. Had a little bit of rain earlier in the Lexus. We finished off that 5.6 liters per 100 kilometers. not that great. My plan didn't really work out. You know, I put the car back into EV mode, and I probably got like 9 or 10 kilometers of EV, and then it switched back into HEV mode, and wasn't ideal, but whatever. So, you know, it was still a nice drive, nice and quiet despite having the windows open, comfortable ride. We've talked about it before. You can watch the full video on the Lexus RX 450h Plus if you're interested. It's a nice little plug-in hybrid. So now we're on the road with the 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe. This is the hybrid. This is brand new. We're also getting a chance to drive something that we haven't had a chance to see before. So this is a new model here being shown off at the AJAC EcoRun 2024. So, you know, we featured the regular version, the fully gas version of the Santa Fe. Victor had it a few weeks ago. We compared it to the Land Rover Defender, which we thought was kind of fun. So now we're driving this one. Good blue color on this, and this is also basically the entry level here, right? So not too bad. We've got dual zone climate control, sunroof, things like that. Pretty comfortable. Good amount of space though. But I've heard that this can get like really good fuel efficiency. Now the thing is, because we're doing 8 different legs, you know, somebody who's driven this previously has done a different route. So each route is going to be different. I'm going to be curious to see how they end up scoring everything, because some routes are a little bit more highway oriented, some of them are a little bit more hilly, like the last one for sure, a lot of ups and downs, which, you know, the ups not so great for a plug-in hybrid, the downs were much better. So we'll see how this hybrid does, but you know, I'm the one driving it here on leg number 7, and then it means that I'll be, you know, given a good taste of what it has to offer by the time I'm done. So pretty good stuff here. We're on our way to our 7th and you know, last stop essentially along our route here, and then once we arrive there, we're going to swap. I'm going to go into my last car, and we're going to head back to the hotel where we've got some more activities, and then we'll find out who wins. So I'm excited about it. We're driving around here, as you can see, some quaint little houses, some almost cottages here, as we're going through sort of Bromont area, driving around in the, you know, what they call the Eastern Townships here in Quebec. So you'll see in the magic of movie making in about a couple seconds. I'll be in the next car, but we'll continue on with the road trip. Well, folks, we're on the final leg of our journey here. It's been a long 2 days. It's been a fun 2 days. I've certainly enjoyed my time. We're currently, I don't even know where we are. Honestly, at this point, we're in a little town here in Quebec. Pretty sure I've been here before, too. It looks a little familiar. I believe we're in St. P. So we're in St. P, and we're heading out back to our hotel where we're going to wrap up our drive, and I'm driving a full electric. And it's interesting, you know, out of all the vehicles I've driven this week, only 2 of them were fully electric, this and the Lucid Air. Everything else was either a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid. So it's nice to be able to drive a fully electric. But that's the thing, right? I've driven so many fully electric vehicles, like the Nissan Ariya in front of us. We've got one at home, and we've tested them before. So, you know, there's a lot of electrics that were on the fleet here, but, you know, I've driven all of them. So thinking back, we just finished off with the Santa Fe. I got 4.7 liters, I think, 4.6, something like that. It was good. I was quite impressed with it. And again, you know, a lot of it hills, so up and down, getting to recharge the battery using the EV mode, it definitely made a difference. So some excellent numbers out of that vehicle. I'm quite impressed with it. Yeah, and again, just the looks are kind of funky. So now we're behind the wheel of the electrified G80, and the reason I like cars like this is because it looks exactly like the gas version. It's essentially the gas version with an electric power plant. And you know, it's comfortable, it's spacious enough. You know, this is a mid-size vehicle, so compared with the BMW i5 that I just drove, I'd say that this is a tad bit tighter for me, but for the most part it works. So, you know, this is our final push. You know, this will be, at least for the driving portions, the final scoring I'm going to be getting today. I need to go do a couple activities. We've got a couple things that I need to do, including the 1% challenge. It's to see how far you can go on 1% of battery. Not that the battery is at 1%, but you know, you go from like 50% to 49%. And then we've also got 2 different versions of the Toyota Camry. We've got the 2025, and then we've got the 2024. and we're going to be testing to see, you know, if there's any improvement in the overall efficiency of the vehicles back to back on the same drive. And then we've also got the team challenge. Actually, it's supposed to be with this vehicle. So we take 4 people, stick it in there, and I guess the idea is we're supposed to drive around and see how efficient we can have the car. So we've got a couple more things happening this afternoon. I'm not going to be filming them just because it's going to be pretty quick. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on, but for the most part, that's what's coming up in the next little while here. And then, yeah, I mean, I'll probably give you an update on my drive home in a truck that's really not related to what we're doing here, but I'll give you a sit rep on technically day 4 that I've been out here in Quebec, but it'll be on the way home. So thanks for joining us so far as I go over what's been going on here on EcoRun 2024, and hopefully I win. Hello, it's me again. Yes, this is being recorded about 2 weeks after the EcoRun festivities ended, and I have to say that they were really fun. I'm glad that I had the chance to attend EcoRun. I didn't win. I think I came in like 8th place or something, or 10th place out of 14. Not great. My strategy of driving around with the air conditioning off and being as efficient as possible, it just didn't work out, but maybe we'll see next year. I'll have a better strategy. But I just want to say that, you know, all of the vehicles that we featured are on the channel. So if you're watching this, you haven't seen anything else that we've done, we will have links to all the vehicles that we featured, as well as in the playlist here for the 2024 AJAC EcoRun. So you can see any of the cars that we've done. And then the only other one that we featured that I didn't drive during this festivities was the Mazda CX-70. I did that separately, but that's in the playlist. And then I drove the Lexus RX 450h, but I actually did that vehicle several months ago, so you can check out the video there. But, you know, as always, if you have any questions about the content that we do here on Test Drive, let us know in the comments below. We do get back to everybody as quickly as we can. We invite you to subscribe to the channel, as well as like and share this video, as it'll help us grow and get more viewers like yourselves. So I appreciate you watching, and until next time, take care.